This is anti-African propaganda, and this is what the West wants you to think about the continent. But here's the real Africa. Safe cities, gorgeous homes, rapidly growing income, and food that is actually healthy to eat. And the question is, why does the West engage in this anti-African propaganda? And that's what I want to talk about. The first reason is money laundering. Most of the charity the West gives to Africa is routed to some not very good people, and they want you guys to keep giving. And I'm sure some good work has been done by these charities, but I've never met an African who received the Save the Children money. And second is, the West wants to exploit the continent for its resources. But to do that, politicians need the Western voters to turn a blind eye. And if the voters think of Africans as a group of people living in trees and mud huts, they won't feel as bad. But lastly, and this is my own personal opinion, I believe the West exploits their own people. Families in the West struggle to make ends meet. Most can't afford to buy houses or have children. But if people in the Western world discovered that a lot of Africans are living better lives than they are, it might not be so good for the people in power. You know what happens to every Westerner who comes to the continent for the first time? It's like they have the same cognitive dissonance, because what they see on the ground in Africa is so different from the image the West put in their head. But I want to know what you guys think. Am I right to think that the West pushes anti-African propaganda for nefarious purposes?
Of course you are right. This is what I have been saying. Do you know that even to this day, many Westerners still do not know otherwise? Many of them still do not know anything different from these propagandas. These people still believe in 2025 that those images of African children who are malnourished with all their bones showing and flies flying all over their mouth and their noses coming out from their ear, these images that these NGOs use for props, these people still believe that that is Africa. And I don't blame the government. I absolutely do not blame the government propagandas or these NGOs propagandas, because the people have refused to educate themselves outside the box. They refuse to educate themselves outside the educational system of their countries. They refuse to read books for themselves. Instead, they still keep relying on the government for information, knowing fully well that government information are mostly of propagandas. A follower reached out to me a few days ago, an African American, and he was curious. He sent me pictures and he was telling me this is all he knows. This is all he knows about Africa. And I told him, when did you get this picture? He said he has had this picture for like 15 years from a particular NGO. And the worst part of this is that he said his family have been a partner to this NGO for more than 15 years. And they have been donating money every single month to this NGO that are supposed to be taking care of African children, American NGO. And I told him categorically that no single child in Africa has received from this NGO, but because it is all a fiction, it is all fake. And I told him, you have to come to Africa for yourself, and you have to see Africa for yourself. These propagandas have to stop. There is no starving children in Africa, except maybe in crisis area where war is going on or where terrorism is going on. But beside that, there is no such thing going on in Africa. Africa is a paradise. You all just have to witness. Thank you for watching.